On this weekend, oh my God, me. All right, sorry, I'm going to do this over.
Leave it in.
This week on Jaywalking, I'm joined by an amazing comedian, just an amazing dude, and a guy I'm happy to call a friend, Dru Montana. So if you don't know him, you got to check him out. Little Cheesesteak, which his moniker kills me. I love it. But you also got to follow Durag and the Deer Tag, and you also got to follow Digital Bazooka. Amazing episodes, amazing podcasts. Add them to the list. Check out Jaywalking. Share with a friend. See ya. Have a great episode. In the house this week with Dru Montana. I'm pumped that you're here. I honestly like. You're someone that I never get to work with a lot, but you're someone I always see on social media. I'm a huge fan of both of your podcasts.
Thank you, man.
Especially the Digital Bazooka, because like the younger kid in me, like I remember getting my first phone line when I was a kid, and that was totally when nobody was around me and my friends were calling like places and I just love it. It's like just good old-fashioned prank fun.
Dude, I've been prank calling since like pre-Star 67,
Yeah.
like phone book prank calls.
Well,
I've been a fan of that art form forever. So the idea that I get to like do it and make any money on it now, it blows my mind.
Insane. Yeah, we did one when I first got my own phone line in my room because this was the AOL days, so you needed your own phone line if you were going to get to the internet. And I remember my buddy Carl came over and he called the like Pioneer City Deli in Carbondale. I don't even know if it's still there, but he like was just being very innuendos with the woman on the phone. He's like, "Will you hold my salami?" And it was just like just that. And he just went so hardcore. And then he left a message on some woman's answering machine that didn't pick up because you just dial random numbers. She went to the cops. The cops traced the number. He called me and I picked up, not knowing he had left this message. And the guy's like, "Yeah, we're going to send a squad car to your house to come pick you up until your parents get home." I mean, scared the life out of me.
We had one of those when I was in like 7th grade. And I always think back on like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, like my balls hadn't even dropped yet. Like my voice was still so high and just harassing people on the phones. And like, dude, I remember there was a guy, this is how long ago we were prank calling, was the phone books, and there was a guy, we just used to search for funny names in the phone book, and there was a guy named Richard Head. I swear to God, and he was a DEC officer in my area, so he was like he like enforced like fishing laws and stuff. So I always knew him as like the guy who was like, "Do you have your fishing license?" But I never knew his phone number. And then when we got that, we called him every day for like 3 months to the point where he called the cops and got it traced. And they like came to my house and my mom was like, "Are you calling Officer Head?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I am."
But at least back then, it was like, it was just wholesome fun. It got out of hand when people started doing the swatting.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
That's where it gets to a level where you're like, okay, this has stopped being just a fun, good, wholesome prank.
Right, because like a good address prank can happen. Like if you send like an exterminator to somebody's house and then you're just like watching from your bedroom window and you see the exterminator van pull up, you're like, "This is hilarious." They don't even need it. But if you're like swatting people, that's insane.
It really, it just ruined it. You just everybody's having fun doing one thing.
Yeah.
Somebody crosses the line.
With Bazooka, we try and like keep it pretty silly because like the best ones we've done are like when the person on the other end of the phone is either confused or they're laughing along with you.
Yes.
But like we've had people come on and like they think that they just need to like be edgy on the phone and they'll call somewhere and be like, "I have a gun," and I'm like, Stop. Like, hang up the phone, man. Like you're gonna ruin the thing that we've been doing for a few years now.
I think that was something because I remember when it first came out and I think I ran into James at a mic or somewhere in the city and I was like, I want to be like, part of me was like, I said it, I think I phrased it weirdly with him, but I was like, I want to love your show more. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I feel like the teacher in me, if I was like commenting how much I'm enjoying this, would be like, it would look weird." But I said, deep down, I love this stuff. It's like, it's so part of me. And I was like, maybe eventually I'll get the guts to.
You do have teacher in your DNA though, or maybe it's just like,
I think that's the problem.
Yeah, the way we perceive you, because I was on my GPS, it said I was going to be here at 2:31 today, and we were starting at 2:30. And I wanted to be like, "Jay, I'm so sorry," just because I think of you as like
I know.
a friend and a teacher. But then you were like, "I'm a little later."
Yeah, because my class ends at 1:58, and I'm technically 30 minutes from here. But also all the seniors that have senior privilege get out at the same time. so that I'm stuck behind all these 18-year-olds texting on their phone trying to get out of the parking lot. And it always puts me behind a couple of minutes. So yeah, I know it's in my DNA, which is it's kind of funny because that's something I've been meaning to talk about in the pod. Is that I am actually resigning. I resigned last week. It was accepted on Monday. So 21 years of teaching at the same
What would have happened
school.
if they didn't accept it?
I know, right? Well, I'll be honest. I didn't think they were gonna let me do it. I thought they were gonna stop me because I wanted to keep doing it. The short of what happened was I was getting a lot more dates, either speaking at schools, conferences, and then the teacher tour. That I had a pretty sweet deal where sometimes they would hire me to come in during the day and do like a talk for the teachers, and then do a show at night. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And it's like good money.
No, you guys are killing it. I've seen those rooms. They're packed.
I was like, oh, so this is great. So I got 16 dates. I had given full availability, which I hadn't done before. And I got 16 dates for the spring. And so I just said, hey, I need 6 days. I need you to not pay me for 6 days. I have 70 sick days. So I don't want to pretend I'm sick. Mm-hmm. So I had a meeting with the head honcho. I said, listen, I don't want to pretend I'm sick. I've been here my 21 years. I want to be transparent with you. This is something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I want to do both worlds. And I thought we had a good meeting. And then they went and talked to HR and someone else. And then 3 weeks later came back and said, yeah, we can't do that. And so I'm like, all right, well, then I guess I'm going to go explore this. Because I thought we'd be able to do both. And they would just say, yeah, take this Thursday, Friday off. Because it wasn't 6 days in a row. It was like a Thursday, Friday here, a Thursday, Friday there, a Thursday, Friday here.
Yeah, but like you said, even if you had even if it was 6 days in a row, if you have the sick days for it, then I don't know. I think if you had maybe gone through the loopholes, they would have respected it more. But fuck that, you did the honest thing.
I did the honest thing, and then they were like, then I was just kind of, when I got that notice, it was like a Monday night. I was actually on the way to the library every night. My daughter's obsessed with libraries, so we go to a different one. Usually 4 to 6 every day. And so I was taking her there and I got just look at my phone. I'm like, oh, I can't believe that's how it turned out. So, and nobody, actually, what's funny? Nobody said a word to me since. I got an exit checklist from a secretary.
Whoa.
And that was it. And then I was like, wow, man, I spent half my life. I was a 21-year-old kid when I walked in there. And to me, it was crazy to not have anybody the principal come up to me who I've known for 21 years.
Right.
And so I was surprised. So I guess I was surprised when they denied the request. So then I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I pushed the big red button and then they're like, all right. So now I guess, it is what it is, but I'm not going to, like I said, I don't want to burn any bridges with them. It's disappointing. I think we could have made both work.
I think definitely. And I don't know, like you said, as long as you're not burning bridges and it is a thing that you could always go back to, but also you have to take this chance now while it's you got it. What do they say? Strike while the iron's
hot. And
strike.
And the COVID. That's why I said COVID changed me. That's where I found comedy. That's where I at least let myself explore it. When I look back, I was always doing stuff. I was always in plays. I was always acting. I was always, I was always doing stuff. But now it's just I don't know. There's something about being the singer-songwriter type. You're creating this and you're performing it. That is the vulnerability of it. I really like. I like sharing personal stuff. All the stuff I hid as a kid that I never wanted anybody to know about me. Now all of a sudden I'm just oh, this is people are enjoying hearing about this.
Yeah,
it's relatable to certain people.
I agree. I was thinking about that the other day, just getting back from the weekend and just reflecting on it. And I was I'm so grateful for all of this. And outside of all the other people that allow it to happen and treat us so well, but I think I'm really I've been thankful lately for me being confident, if that makes sense. Because when I was a kid, I was so nervous to do any of that stuff, or I just didn't want to say the wrong things, or I just wanted to seem the cool, quiet, weird, I don't
Mysterious.
know. Yeah. But that gets you nowhere. And then, I mean, maybe it can in some ways, but what we do or what we're trying to do, it gets you nowhere. So yeah, I think just doing comedy and getting better at it and gaining confidence has helped me so much with everything.
Yeah, well, it's funny because you always strike me as since knowing you within this realm of comedy that way. Because I was going to ask you what were you like as a kid in high school?
I feel like I was so I wanted to be a rapper until I was Well, I had phases, man. I was like a Pokemon nerd, lacrosse player when I was younger.
Okay.
I was pretty into sports like my whole life, and I think I like peaked athletically in like the 6th grade. So, like, my friends have said that to me before, but like I was good at sports in 6th grade, and then as soon as like the turn of like kids started hitting puberty, I fell off so hard.
Dude.
And dude, it went from like I started in like most sports I played to like I was getting cut from teams. And I was like, what's happening?
Being in a middle school where you have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, or like I even coached some teams where it was like an 8th grader could play up with some of the other, and the difference you would see in like I even just in one of my classes, like kids with mustaches and kids who can barely see over their desk.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it is such a wild age. I coached 7th grade baseball for the longest time, and that was like the age where you're on the big field for the first time.
Yeah.
So like it's such a huge difference for kids and seeing them to like when I finished I coached 16 years, and by the last of it I was coaching varsity. So it was like crazy to think that. And now I would go watch a 7th grade game and I'd be like, how did I even stand watching this?
Yeah, it's wild, dude. And I mean, I went to a small school, so like it wasn't even like a big sample size of athletes. It was just
it was pretty small.
Yeah, I fell off pretty hard. Yeah.
But you're into you do like boxing now, right? I saw you do.
I still do like Muay Thai and kickboxing, and like I still like I'll like go shoot around and play basketball, and like I can pass and catch a football. I'm not like
exactly.
Completely unathletic, but it's not like. I don't know. It kind of was like my whole thing was playing sports, and I just wasn't good at them anymore. And then I like started smoking weed pretty young. I was in like 8th grade and became a pothead. And then I wanted to become a rapper for years.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom tried to like talk me out of that at one point, and I had to like she like sat me down. She was like, "You can't like focus on being a rapper. You need like a backup plan." And I remember I told her this is when I was like 17. I was like, "Mom, I'm lyrically inclined."
Inclined.
Maybe the corniest thing anyone's ever said.
Well, and that was an era too where you were able to like record stuff still. It was before like Spotify and SoundCloud, but you were able to probably easily record yourself and put it out there.
And we would burn mixtapes, like me and my friends.
Yeah.
We called ourselves a Young Splashy Entertainment at YSE. It was the craziest thing ever. Dude, thank God all of this music has like been deleted from the internet, and I can't find any of the CDs anymore.
I mean, we had recorders. So like, I when I was in high school, it was like 1997 to 2001. So like somebody had a camera or like a VHS recorder. So there are VHS tapes somewhere in this world.
You were a rapper?
Of not me rapping, but we would get stoned, and then we had this talk show we would do on my buddy's porch called Talk Time with Stoners, and we would just record ourselves talking after we had smoked, and it was just like I don't even know what would be on there, but like it was fun. But again, we were being creative, like we were doing. I mean, we could have been doing all sorts of stuff, but when I think back to it, I'm like, oh, like I did this talk at a conference where I was basically just took my life and put it into like 9 innings, how I got from being a student to being a teacher. And as I was kind of going through all the photos, my mom had all this stuff, and I kept finding all these notes from kids or yearbook writings, and it was always about, oh, you're so funny, oh, there was so many laughs, and I kept thinking, oh, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, because I kept thinking to myself, oh, I just started this at like 38, but I'm like, no, I'd been doing all of this along. I'd sort of been that kid, but I think we forget. It's so easy to kind of forget the day-to-day of like, you spend 180 days in school every year, but you don't really remember day 73.
Most of it you don't remember,
yeah. So it's like you just kind of remember the cliff notes of things. And even those are kind of, I would say, probably like not exactly 100% what happened. It's
maybe 30% of it. It's
and if you were smoking pot, forget about it. That is less. I don't care how lyrically inclined you are.
I always wanted to do like something creative, though, I guess. Like even before comedy, like I always used to make like skateboarding videos even before I wanted to rap, and then like I wanted to rap, and then I got into like drawing, but yeah, and then like I did when I went to college, I went to Cabrini, and so I did like radio broadcasting there, and I really wanted to do like sports talk stuff. I wanted to be like a ESPN type guy, but I just remembered like how serious they took it, and I didn't like that.
Yes.
And like I hated the idea of like I had to wear a suit to be on ESPN. I'm like, I look so bad in a suit. Like, why can't I just be on ESPN? I know sports. Why can't I talk in this? And I don't know, like the rules of all of it always, like, I think kind of got me into this, where I was like, I just want to do a podcast, and then that made me find comedy, and then it all kind of
so
took off.
Interesting. And then you just got back from, because like I've done some festivals and stuff like that, and I would say I've never been to one that I was truly like, oh man, it was awesome. And I saw you make a comment that you were just down in New Orleans for a festival called Skankfest, that I don't think is a typical comedy fest.
No, it's it's a whole different thing. I don't know how to describe it, because it's funny, because like people I think have like this bad, or Skankfest does have like a weird reputation around it, or like
might start with the name. It might have something.
Yeah, it could be the name. Like it's a hard thing to like tell my parents I'm going to. Yeah. And I don't know. I think like people from the outside of it like see some of the comics and they like have this weird perception of them. But it's funny. Like every Skankfest ends. Like the last thing that happens at the festival, they do the goddamn comedy jam, which is Josh Adam Myers and his band. And they do like a live band performance for the comics, where comics can come up and sing to a audience of thousands of people. And every year it ends with all the comics on stage singing "What's Up" by 4 Non-Blondes. So I'm like, yeah, I don't care what perception you have of this festival. It's as gay as anything else.
I was going to say there are trust falls after that. We're like, it's like, that's crazy. Well,
but
it's like,
it also is like, there's 5 different stages going on. It's nonstop live podcasts and stand-up shows. They have a ring where they have fights going on at all times. I did a 20-man Royal Rumble this weekend.
So do you actually have to go over the top rope, or is
no?
It was
if you take a knee, you get out of there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I saw you going after some guy in like a bikini, like American flag.
Dude, there was this giant guy. So originally it was supposed to all be. Oh, that guy was crazy too. He's the man though. But originally I thought it was like all comics. And like all comics in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So we all kind of had the understanding of like, all right, just nobody punch each other in the back of the head, and like,
and you'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll like get the crowd into it, whatever. So the first 3 people in there, it was me, this guy Paco. Me and Paco went in first, and then this guy Dom came in, and we were all kind of just like playing around. No one's hitting each other too hard.
Like every 20 seconds, someone's coming in, or
every minute someone comes in.
Okay.
But we're all like playing around. It's like 85 degrees. I'm hungover, so I already didn't want to be in there.
Oh, that's the worst.
Crazy. I was on mushrooms the day before. Like, my brain wasn't working.
God.
They're like, you're fighting 20 people today. I was like, I really don't want to. They were like, nope, you're doing it. I was like, well, am I getting paid more? And they were like, yeah. So
okay, then.
I'll do it. Dude, so the 4th guy comes in there, and I didn't know who he was at all. It was just this jacked dude covered in tattoos. And immediately Joe List is one of the announcers, and he goes, this guy's not a comedian.
Escaped inmate from the local prison.
He gets in there and starts throwing hard. So we were like, oh, what the this sucks. So he gets the one guy, Dom, out of there. He like hits him pretty hard, and Dom just like takes a knee and leaves. So then me and Paco are like, all right, we got to jump this guy. And then out of nowhere, the bell rings, and Naeem comes in next. So Naeem just goes at this guy. And then me, Paco, and Naeem jumped him.
And Naeem was like a legit
Naeem's
boxer.
Legit, yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Dude, it was so fun.
It's so funny. I think I saw like a Ferris wheel at something. They had
a Gravitron, a Ferris wheel.
That's wild. Now they did it in Vegas before. Do they swap between cities, or?
I think so. It started in New York. This was the 9th one. It started in New York for like 4 or 5 years. Then it went to Houston for a year. Then it was in Vegas for the last 3, and now New Orleans.
Wow.
I know Louis. Shout out to Louis J. Gomez, Rebecca Trent, and Christine Evans, the people that put it all together.
Okay.
Yeah. They do an unbelievable job with it. But they were talking about moving it to like a resort next year, I think. But I think it went so well in New Orleans this year that they're talking about bringing it back. So I don't know. I'm just like so grateful to be a part of all of it. I'll go wherever they want me to go.
Now
I'll do Skankfest Beijing if they let me.
Is that an invite thing, or do you guys actually submit like anything else?
No, so you apply to it, and that's the best part about it, I think, is like there's no there's no submission fee, which like every other festival I've seen,
there's always a submission fee.
Right, and the festivals seem like they suck. It's like 2 names up top that you recognize, and then like 100 people that you've never heard of that got roped into paying the $50 entry fee or whatever.
Exactly right.
But I mean, Skankfest, there's no submission fee. Yeah, submissions are every year. We got lucky enough to be asked. We applied like the first 3 or 4 years and didn't get in.
You have enough of a reputation.
And then the podcast got asked to go do it last year, and then those have gone so well. Dude, it was like 500 people wearing durags in a room just watching hot ladies in durags. It was unbelievable.
That's amazing.
Which we didn't have in Vegas.
Was that like, and they just got them yourself, or was it merch that you
No,
saw?
we brought them and we pass them out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because it is a very funny visual when the camera pans. It's just 500 white dudes in durags.
Durags. Yeah. No, so now you have enough following with that, but they're asking you to come, which is cool.
It's been, very cool.
That's great. And I saw there were a lot of Philly people down there. It was like
Jim Gillespie was there, Rob Stant, Foster, me and Naeem, Rob Cruz, Sydney, Shaner. Dude,
that's a lot. Yeah, so it was cool. It was cool to see on social media, just living vicariously through you. Should be teaching Latin, and I'm just scrolling on my phone.
And I'm just like crowd surfing.
I saw that too. I was like, that's crazy. So how many shows did you get to do, stand-up wise?
3 stand-up shows. I did live Durag. I was a guest on Dad Meets live podcast.
Oh, cool. That's with Rainey, right?
Yeah. And then I did the Midday Circus, which is like I was supposed to. So I did it last year. Colin Tyrrell does the Midday Circus, and Colin's one of the funniest people in the world.
Yeah, I saw a clip I think you guys put out recently.
He's so funny. He does this thing called Midday Circus every year, and it's at noon, and he doesn't give. Somehow the audience gets a bunch of mushrooms. Somehow they all get mushrooms, and everyone's like fucked up at noon. And then he does a full-blown like comedy circus thing where he has magicians come out, and he's dressed as a ringleader. Sam Talent was a police officer for the whole thing. But I did that, and I was supposed to. I did it last year, and he asked me if I could juggle, and I was like, I could juggle, and I really can't juggle that well.
I can do 3.
I can do the 3, and that's it. And so this year he asked me to do it again, and it was supposed to be me and 2 other people juggling for 15 minutes to open the show. And the other 2 people bailed. So it was just me out there by myself trying to learn how to juggle for 15 minutes. But
was it the longest 15 minutes of your life?
Not really. Dude, it went so fast because the audience, I went to the mic and told them immediately. I was like, we're supposed to have real jugglers. They bailed. I was like, we're going to learn how to juggle together. And
let me set my phone to YouTube right here.
Anytime I got through like 3 of them, the crowd would go nuts.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, that's cool.
And then by the end of it, I got through like 2 rotations of it, and like half the crowd was standing ovationing. And then I was like, and then Doug Stanhope was coming up next, and I was like, if you guys are standing for that, get on your fucking feet. Doug Stanhope.
Right. That's crazy.
It's like, it's just nonstop.
Just stuff going on, and it's like variety stuff, different things. That's cool.
And then the fans out there, the coolest people in the world. There's like, I don't know, I could do it all day. Where like you just go, you're walking through and like walking from show to show, and like people stopping you, being like, "I love the show, man. I love Durag."
Oh, that's cool. That doesn't.
It feels so good.
And like, do you sleep at all? Did you have any kind of a sleep cycle?
Like 3-4 hours a night. Yeah, you get it's overwhelming, and like that part's exhausting. Like I slept all day Tuesday. I didn't do anything.
So like you went down. When did you go down? Thursday? Because I saw
Thursday.
I saw you at Joel's on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah. And I got there Thursday night, and I got back like basically like Tuesday at like 1 a.m. Okay. Like I got back late because I had a Monday flight and it got delayed. And
oh man, yeah. So that's. All right, so yeah, that was a very long weekend.
Long weekend.
All right, well that's cool, man. And Naeem back. Did you guys go together? Or you didn't? Sorry.
Yeah, we had separate flights back, but we flew out there together.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah,
that was a good time. I'm glad you guys came and did that show we did together at the gun range.
Oh, that was so fun.
That was fun. Yeah, that's great. So that was a good time. I'm actually going back there in February. I think they're like, we're gonna keep doing regular ones at that. I think it's King
Shooters.
Shooters. That was great. Shooting a gun. I've been I've never shot a gun, and now I'm ready to go back and do it again. And
yeah,
that was cool.
I never in a million years thought I would do a comedy show at the place I bought my first gun from. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. That was cool. And it was just interesting. I love that Shayna did it. Like, everybody did it. So it was like
Shayna was a marksman.
Honestly, I was nervous. I'm like, I'm not messing with her.
No.
Yeah, she came last night. I did a show at Joel's, this like new material mic, where I kind of wanted it to be a little like a Kill Tony, but in a more like collaborative, creative thing. So I basically invited 4 pro comics to do like new material. So everybody did like 10, 12 minutes. I did 10 or 12 minutes up front, and that was like the first hour. And then the second half hour was a bucket pull for any newer comics that came out, and then they would do a 3-minute set and get 2 minutes of feedback. And then all of the comics stayed and kind of was on the side. And it was exactly what I hoped it would be. Like,
nice.
It was so cool. And like even the comics who were bucket pulled, like they came out swinging with like a good 3 minutes, and then everybody had something to say, and it was fun. And even the audience, like somebody texted Joel after and was like, that was like so cool to hear the inside baseball talk.
Yeah.
That like, Meg Getz or like Chris Kosha. I don't know if you ever worked
Chris
with him.
Chris is funny, yeah.
He's great, but he's taught comedy at the DC Improv forever. So like he's got a lot of great insights that I know he's probably already been giving,
Yeah. And that's one of the things about Soul Joel's that Joel does so well is like build the community into it, where like even if I don't know, like you can have your fans come out to a show or like your following come out to a show at Soul Joel's, but there's already going to be people there because they just love Soul Joel's.
Yep.
They're there to eat the wings. They're there to
yeah, you're talking about the wings.
They're there to eat the damn wings, dude.
Yeah. No, they took away my favorite item. They had banh mi fries,
which
was like the shredded chicken thighs with like pickles and jalapenos, and it was just so good. And they rotated the menu. They put poutine fries in, which are I've been told equally as good. But
it's a winner item.
I'm on this jalapeno kick. I don't know why.
Yeah, Spicy J.
Yeah, I'm a Spicy J. I'm evolving, is what's happening. Right? I start off by asking, do you remember where we first met?
I remember seeing you on. I think we were Facebook friends.
That's what happened
as
it happens first. The only time we ended up on a show together in Delaware County at this beer mart.
Yes, at one of Peggy's shows,
yes,
wasn't it? Yeah,
exactly. That was, I think, the first time we were actually on a show together. And it was cool because, like, again, I got to hang out with you guys, and like, you see everybody on that, and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm this old dude coming in, like I'm like a teacher, like, but I'm a normal guy, like, and I've really appreciated how cool you guys were, and like I felt like I was included in the hang or whatever was happening, and
yeah, I mean, dude, that's the weird thing about becoming Facebook friends before real friends with somebody is sometimes you can tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know when someone's gonna be like a good hang or like they're a good time. There's sometimes you see guys on Facebook just melting down, and you're like, I'm staying away from him.
I see that so much with some people, and I'm just like, dude, stop. This is not, if you wouldn't get on top of your car and start screaming it in your neighborhood, don't do this in this page, because it's like you have to snooze people sometimes. I'm like, it's like, yeah, because it's just verbal diarrhea. I'm just like, hit the Imodium button. I need to put a pause on you,
dude. I didn't know about the snooze or the mute button, and I had to unfriend a few people just because, like, I was like, I just don't like their Facebook takes. Nothing against them. Yeah. And then they would message me and be like, did I do something to offend you? And I'd be like, no, that must have been a mistake.
That must have been a mistake. I love that when you get caught and somebody's got the nerve to ask about it, and you're like, oh, man.
I'm like, I don't know how that happened.
I have no idea how I unfollowed you.
I'm sure I'll tell you the names after, and I'm sure you've probably got them muted.
Yes,
so.
I'm sure, too. Yeah, that's crazy. But, yeah, you're right, because, I mean, people use it in such a weird way or have weird takes on stuff, or even in the Facebook group. Like, I'll see people post stuff, and I'm just like, why would you say that out? Like, why would you put that out?
Yeah.
Because you're almost just putting a mark on yourself. And it's just like, listen, and maybe it's the kid in me that went to 7 different schools. So I just knew, like, when I got to a new school, I just sit back and listen and kind of see the environment first. And then, and then you can kind of find where you get, jumping rope. It's like, if I got to wait and see the rhythm before
you're allowed 1 or 2 spazzes in the Philly Comedy Network. Once it gets past that, it's like, come on,
then it's
man.
like, well, it was always, I would always watch it. I'm like, oh man, I'm just this observer, and like, and then you posted something really nice about me one time. I don't know. I was really It was very nice.
I was hammered.
I figured. I
was so drunk. It was like 11:45 at night, and I was just like in the Philly Comedy Network. I was like, Jay Yoder fucking rules. Send.
I was like, oh, that was nice. I was like, because it's funny to me. Like when I first started at Joel's when it was in the pandemic, and like I'm there. My wife and I had been there for months. That was our like refuge. Was like. My mom lived with us, so we could escape out of the house with the girls and get some. So we would just go watch the open mic, and then eventually I was like, "Oh, I could do this."
I think that's how everyone does it. Is like you, because I remember I started with I'd kind of like just become a fan of comedy like 6 months before. Like I really didn't know anything about it before that. I knew Larry the Cable Guy and I knew Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Because that's who my dad listened to and that's who was popular. So like I knew those guys, and then I remember because I had a podcast before I did comedy, and it was like
what was it? What was the name of it?
The John Podcast.
Nice.
It's the most unwatchable shit ever.
Were you just trying to be a rapper for?
Kinda, yeah. Kinda. It was like it was very the Breakfast Club, like the Charlemagne and them. Mm-hmm. It was kind of trying to be like that, very like hip hop radio.
Yeah.
It's so bad, but
well, it's good. We always emulate whatever. I mean, I used to do this like embarrassing wrestling thing. I was so big into WWF wrestling that we recreated at my buddy's house on his trampoline, like to the point where there was staging, there was music, there was a website. People would come and watch us. Like there were storylines, like, and we were so hardcore into it. And it was like, and I look back and I'm like, oh my God, that was like a big part of my life in high school.
Like, oh, I can't believe that's out there.
I can't believe I do that. And there's like, we were the news, like the news came and did a story on us because the neighbors kept calling the cops on us. And we were like, well, there's literally nothing. I lived in Carbondale, Pennsylvania. There was literally nothing for kids to do at night. So we can either hang out here where her parents
we're going to throw rocks at cars.
Yeah, or we're going to go throw rocks at cars. And
that's where I grew up, dude. It's like, that's all we had to do was either... Mom, you either got to get me a 4-wheeler or I'm going to throw rocks at cars.
That's right.
Like, I grew up in the woods. That's all we got. I'm either going to learn how to wheelie or I'm going to hit cars with rocks.
So, but I mean, I think getting into comedy, you're right. I think it just kind of starts, you become a fan, you try it out.
Oh, yeah. And then, so I'd become a fan of it. And then I was like starting to think of it. And I was like learning about more comedians. And I was like, I think I could do this. And then this guy I went to Cabrini with, I saw him make a post where he was like, I'm doing my first ever comedy night tonight. Everybody come out, which is insane looking back on it. Like inviting everyone to your first show. And so I was like, I'll go. I'm funnier than this guy. I'm going to go sign up and like.
Yeah.
And I went and I remember watching him. He went like he went pretty early. He went like third or fourth. And he went up there and dude, he brought like 40 people that he knew. And at one point he took his sweatpants off and he had like just like a, what do you call it, like a Speedo on under it. And that was like his whole big bit. And it bombed so hard. This is at Grape Room. And
was it Grape Room?
And then I was like, oh, I'm going up. I'm going to bury this guy. Like, I'm going to be the guy tonight. And then I waited like 10 more comedians. I'd like ran down a 5 that I thought was funny. And I waited like 10 more comics. And then nobody was funny. Everyone was bombing that night. It was one of those nights. And then they called up Ryan Foster. And then they called up Naeem back to back. And then they both crushed. Yeah. And then they called me after that, and I was like, I'm not that funny. I'm not those guys at all. So they called my name, and I just sat there, and I was like, I don't even know who Dru Montana could be. And then I left, and I felt like such a pussy about it. And I went back the next week, and I signed up, and then I just stayed doing it. Yeah. But
crazy.
It was that one guy in college that told me he was going to do comedy, and I was like, I'm funnier than that guy.
I'm going to go do this. Yeah, I think
and at least he tried it that night. But
I think, it's funny because like I did, my thing was with the school, we had a faculty talent show, and whenever we'd be at happy hour and I would have too much to drink, I'd start talking like Chris Farley. And so like that was like my shtick at like conferences and stuff like that. If we were, teacher conferences get crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd be doing that. And so somebody's like, oh, we should do that living in a van down by the river. I'm like, you mean I should do that living in a van? He was like, well, I'll direct it. And I had done it. And I'm like, oh, these kids aren't going to know this. They won't. And we went full out. Like we had a cardboard coffee table for me to fall through. Like the whole thing. I actually busted my ribs because the mic pack was here and I overshot. I was so adrenaline pumped. I jumped too far and I hit where the styrofoam leg was. So the styrofoam leg, even though it was cut, still pinned in my mic pack. And it was like, but it like everybody erupted. It was like crazy. One of the guys who was going to retire that year was like, they interviewed him for the school paper and they're like, what's one of the memories you're going to remember? They're like, oh, when Mr. Yoder did Living in a Van Down by the River. So then for his retirement dinner, I rewrote it to be motivating him for retirement.
Okay.
And so I took the Bob Odenkirk script and then I just altered it to be like motivating him what retirement was going to be like.
That's cool. When did you do that? Or how many years before comedy did you do that?
That was like, that must have been like 2008.
Okay, damn.
So it might have been like, it was like almost 12 years before. And so that became my thing. So then when somebody else would retire, I would rewrite it. Like a guidance counselor retired after that. And so then I would do that. And that was like my shtick, was like rewriting it and then memorizing it and then performing it. And I think that was the first thing I did in comedy. And I think that probably was, and I had in my head like a bucket list. Like I had written down, I had an old phone that's dead somewhere, but it's filled with notes of things I thought I would talk about.
Right.
Because I remember writing it at some point with zero intention of ever going to an open mic or whatever. And then the pandemic happened and everything shifted. I was working so hard at school that I was just like, I was giving them everything. I wasn't getting paid a dime extra. And I was like doing all this stuff for them. And I did it gladly because I was just so happy to be helpful. I was so happy to, and that this was the only thing that helped my brain not check my email was going and sitting in that sand pit and like listening to other people. And I'm like, oh, this is where it's at. We were laughing. Even my wife and I were miserable. You know, my daughters are so young. My oldest was like struggling with it. She was trying to escape the house just to get out of the house. So we had to like lock down the house and stuff. So like it was just super. We had to take shifts staying up at night to make sure she didn't like escape.
Right.
So it was just, we had so much stress going on in our life that we would have Impractical Jokers on the TV all the time because the girls could watch it and it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And then her and I would go to that every Tuesday. And I just said to myself, all right, if you think this is something you want to do 100 open mics in a year. If you could do 100 open mics in a year during COVID and like not Zoom mics, like, so basically I went to Joel's, Bar 13 and, Great American Pub in Phoenixville.
Okay.
Those were the three. So I was like, oh, there's three. If I went every week, it would be 156 mics minus Christmas, whatever.
Right.
And I think I hit 100 within like 8 months because I was just like, I went every time there was one. I was like addicted. And I was like, I remember going to Bar 13. I saw Peggy. It was behind this glass because it was like COVID friendly.
Yeah.
So
did I ever see you at Bar 13?
maybe. I was so nervous because they were like, seeing
yeah.
that place looks scary. I'm like, I drove here in a Prius. Like, if they knew
Right,
that,
right.
I'm like, this is crazy. But that was so intimidated. And I went to Philly for the first time. Mel Harris had one. My wife would find one on Facebook and she would like send it to me, like, hey, there's a new one. And Mel Harris did one at the Attic Brewing Company. They did it outdoors. And so I drove down. I kept finding every reason to turn around. Like I got there, I couldn't find a parking spot. Oh, I guess I'll turn around, even though I just drove an hour. And then I parked and I get there and I'm like, oh, I can't find the list. Okay, I guess I'll leave. And I just kept trying to find every reason.
And you watch the show and you're like, it's all black guys. I'm out of here.
So I get on there and they're like, I sign up and they're like, oh, it's a random list. You're first. And I'm like,
right.
oh, okay. And then he's like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And Joel's was 4 minutes. So I'm like, oh, how much time do you do? I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes. He's like, oh, we do like 7 to 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I going to do for the other 3 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
And I remember getting up there and at one point, like I told the jokes that I had and then I just started speaking Spanish to some guy. And then he was making fun of me, and then I started teaching the audience how to roll their R's, and like I was just doing whatever. I think I lasted 7 minutes, and
Did the job though.
and I did it, and I got up there, and then I watched as progressively the audience stopped paying attention to people as I went through, and I was so glad I went up early. But then Ryan Foster came up first time and just lambasted the audience to the point where they completely were on board now, and I'm like, oh wow, like that's. Watching him do that, and then there were like Lump was in the back. There were all these comedians in the back that, as I left, like were really cool to me. And we're just like, oh yeah, keep trying it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's so cool to think like, wow, that moment, and now looking 4 years later to like having the opportunities I've had, and how cool and the relationships I built with some of these guys is like Like, I'm sure for you having Naeem and Ryan, and then next thing you know, you're doing this killer podcast for the last couple of years. With Naeem.
It's crazy, and I remember meeting both of them for the first time, and like just being like, you guys must have been doing this forever. Like, what's it like being famous comedians? And they're like, what are you fucking talking about? We just started like recently too.
Yeah. I found that interesting about you when you and I talked at that time. Yeah. 'Cause you were like, I just started
like a couple years before, or like a year before. Me and Naeem started, like me and Naeem became really good friends, like almost immediately when I met him. And then we started going to like every open mic together. And we would go to this open mic, what was it called? Captain Chucky's Crab Shack or something. And it was a music open mic in Northeast Philly.
Awesome.
And but they would give you 15-minute sets.
Yes.
And we were brand new. Like we had maybe been doing comedy for like a month. And they'd be like, you do 15 though. And dude, we'd be the only comedians there. It'd be me, Naeem, and then like if we told somebody about it, they would pull up.
Yeah.
Like Del Gold used to come sometimes, and but it was usually just me and Naeem, and it'd be like 3 R&B singers doing 15 minutes each, and then like I would go up or Naeem would go up. Then it'd be like 2-3 more singers, and then another one of us would go, and then it was the longest shows ever.
That's what I realized to do that at music mics, because that's how I started at Tuned Up. I went there because they had a music mic, and I just said, hey, I had a show coming up where I was getting like a 15 or 20-minute set. And I was like, oh, can I run it? And I knew it had to be clean anyway. So I was like, all right, well, this will be great. And then when I left there, the guy's like, oh, we've been meaning to do a comedy night. And that's actually how I started there. But I kept going for like the music night because they would always let me do however long I wanted. Because usually they give them like 3 songs. So they're like, oh, there's a place, The Gem in Spring City does that.
Music mic?
Where you get music and they have comedy that comes up. And then, did you ever go to John and Peters in New Hope?
I've heard good things, but I've never been out there.
So Mike Diallo does some music too. So like that's why you know the music guys either get like 2 songs and then comics get like 7 to 8 minutes.
Right.
So
dude, and that I mean, like the further I get into comedy, variety shows usually aren't great. But
like when you're starting and you're looking for time.
Yeah, it helps so much.
Yeah, that's what the time is like. So valuable.
Because that's where you really learn to be uncomfortable up there. Because like you're uncomfortable up there your first couple of years anyway, doing your material that you know works.
Yeah.
But like you really get uncomfortable when you do those 3 jokes you know works, and now you have 5 to kill, like 5 minutes to kill. So it's like, all right, figure it out, man.
I did a town hall that I was the only comic. Like Joe Bookman, there's this guy. I guess this guy never shows up for his constituents, so they were having like a rally against him, and then they wanted a comedian. And I always find myself in these weird scenarios, but it's like, and it's super uncomfortable. But like everybody loves it. It's just a different bar because they're not there for comedy. It's not lit for comedy. So it's just weird when you find yourself in a scenario, but you're like, you're gonna pay me? Oh, okay.
Right. It is. Yeah. Some people. They hear like, oh, you're a comedian. We need a comedian around here. And then
then you're like, yeah, we regret that decision.
I remember I got hired for a job one time that I was so underqualified for, should not have gotten at all. I lied a little bit on my resume, so maybe they thought I was more qualified than I was. But I didn't lie. I exaggerated a lot. You know how resumes are. But
yes.
Resumes
I don't even speak Spanish. This is crazy.
Also, this is very funny too. Naeem pointed this out to me because we looked at my resume on Durag one day, and I just used a template.
Yeah.
And so they have languages on the template.
Oh, did you keep it in the Latin?
No, I just wrote English under languages.
Oh, that's
and that
funny.
was it, but no other languages. And
I thought you were gonna say you left it because like usually when you get a template of something, it's written. They have this like Latin text that they use.
But he goes, "Why would you leave English in there? They know you speak English. The whole resume is in English." But I forget what I was saying before. Oh, I got a job one time that I was like pretty underqualified to get, but I remember in the interview I mentioned something about doing comedy, and they were like, that's awesome. We need a guy that gets it around here. We need a comedian.
And how long did that last?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
They fired me so quick. They were like, this sucks. Well, because also I had to get there at like 8 a.m. and then they expect me to like just be ripping Excel sheets all day and then like have zingers for them. And I'm like, dude, I'm tired and I don't even know how to use Excel. So I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, I'm messing up the sheets and not being funny. So like,
so it's like they're like, all right, this is.
You don't want me here. I'm a nightmare.
That's so funny.
Give me my 1 check and I'll leave.
Yeah, dude. Well, so what's coming up for you next now that Skankfest is over?
We're doing live digital bazooka at Helium, December 6th.
You just had Dan Soder on, right? That episode just dropped?
Drops tomorrow or Saturday.
Okay, so by the time this comes out, it'll definitely be out.
Yeah, it'll be out. Gun to my head, I couldn't say a bad thing about Dan Soder. He's the nicest guy in the world.
That's awesome.
He's the funniest. Like, for people that started comedy around the time I did, if you listen to podcasts and are a fan of this shit, he's on your Mount Rushmore. I don't care who you are. He's so funny. That comes out soon, but we're doing a live one at Helium December 6th. And then me and Naeem are co-headlining Soul Jewels again.
I saw that.
January 10th.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Yes, you got a lot of stuff going around. So Durag and the
Deer Tag, Digital Bazooka.
And then follow you at little cheesesteak. I saw as that, which I was like, oh, I get hungry every time I'm messaging you. I'm like, this is great. Do you know they're doing a cheesesteak festival at Joel's?
When?
April 26th.
We should go.
I will be there. I was like, they had one at the Link years ago, and I went, and it was awesome. And so you would get you got 10 tickets, and then you can go up, and they would give you it was great. So I'm excited to have it in the backyard. Because have you had Gazzo's, which is the one in Pottstown?
No, I've heard
from
good things,
South
though.
Philly. Oh yeah, it's really good. There's so many good places. It's crazy. So to have them all under one roof in the ballroom there, and they're doing micro wrestling. He's got micro wrestling. He's got he'll let. I mean, that's what I love about it, is literally anything. And Pottstown needs it because we got
there's nothing else out there. But that's the coolest thing about Joel's is most places, most venues like that in an area similar to that, a not highly populated area, they're gonna fail. You know what I mean? But Joel does so many different things and does them well that
it works. I'm gonna ask you and Naeem to come out for one of the new material and do the panel, because that would be really cool too. Because especially too just how reflective. I think when people see, especially I talked about this with Naeem a lot, he's so good at presenting his comedy that it comes off kind of how people probably think about Bill Burr, where it's he just goes up there and just says what he's thinking, and it's no, man, I wrote it. He's I wrote that stuff. I was I prepped that. So it's it'll be really cool for the second half to hear sort of the feedback and giving some of the feedback to the other comics, because I wanted to create that kind of you here at the Cellar, there's the booth and all the people talk at the booth. I'm well, how can we create a little slice of that and not have it be elitist either,
right?
Have it be something that is accessible.
Anyone can get in,
and last night was a testament to how cool it was, and I was just everybody gave some cool feedback. It was so much fun. Lamar Todd, it was fun. It was just funny the whole time. And I think the comics who went up got a lot from hearing from people who, a little bit more experienced, which is cool. So yeah, January, I'll hit you up.
Please.
We'll do that
Lamar
too.
Todd is so funny. Sorry if we're running late, but real quick.
Go for it.
We called Lamar on a Digital Bazooka one time, and
he didn't know that it was.
No, he knew it was us. So we do a bit sometimes where we'll call our friends off our own numbers.
Yeah.
Usually we reroute the number and use fake names or whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes we'll call people off our own numbers and just say something ridiculous. But we were doing a bit the one night where we were calling people and telling them what was it? I think. Oh, it was the thing we saw on TikTok. So we stole this idea, but it was where you call your friends or guys call their friends.
Oh yeah,
and
they
tell
say
them
good night. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, James did it to Lamar Todd, and everybody else knew we were playing with him, and Lamar I don't know if he hadn't seen the trend or if he just thinks James is that dumb, but he was he goes, "Oh man, that's really sweet of you. Thank you, man."
Dude, that's a great Lamar voice, by the way.
Thank you. And just hangs up. I was dude, how dumb does Lamar think you are that you're calling him to say goodnight? That's crazy.
That's really sweet. You are, man. Thanks. Dude, yeah, he is great. So much fun. Every time I say it was just so much fun. Yeah, because he was the first comic that was that gave me a show at one of the major clubs. He was doing a teacher show at Punchline, maybe a year after I had doing comedy, and he was at Great American, heard I was a teacher. He's oh, come on my show. And man, I'm I was so grateful. That was the first time. Actually, Punchline finally hit me up and booked me rather than somebody else being, somebody else bringing me in. So I was oh, it's cool. It's a testament to all the work that you put in, and you hope you get opportunities. So I've been super grateful. And I'm super grateful you came on. I got you now before you're too big.
You're the man. No, dude, I'll come back and do this whenever. I love you, Jay.
I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, man. And you guys, don't forget, give us a follow. Make sure you follow Dru if you don't already. And we'll see you next week on Jaywalking.
Bye.